Josh? Edi kagigising mo lang yan, Josh. Okay po. Ayan. Ito lagi ang almusal mo pag pag session natin. So, welcome to second session for alkenes and elimination reactions. So, we're done with the alkyl halide. So, actually, this is still alkyl halides per se. Parang mas okay to na alkyl halides kasi we're just discussing a little bit of alkenes here. Yeah, pero pwede na rin alkenes. This is more on elimination reactions. So we've started with describing general features of elimination. Take note, Josh, I've already mentioned this last time. If you have elimination reaction for organic chemistry, you have formation of pi bond, right? So magkakaroon ka ng C double bond C. And at the same time, your elimination reactions is actually a competing reaction, no? Competing reaction sila with the substitution. Okay? So, elimination reactions compete with substitution reactions. So, this is the general formula for elimination reactions. So, take note, pag substitution to, Josh, anong tawag natin dito? Pag substitution, okay, nucleophile. So, sa akin ito majority din naman ng books na nabasa ko, kapag elimination reaction, we can still call this nucleophile. Pero, since it's elimination, the more correct term is actually base. No? So, base na ngayon. Para meron din tayong distinction, Josh. No? So, we can distinguish the nucleophile in elimination reaction and substitution reaction. So, for substitution reaction, we just call it nucleophile. Pero kapag elimination reaction, Josh, the correct term is actually base kasi ang base dito ay proton acceptor. Right? The Lewis acid base theory. So, proton acceptor base yan. So, ngayon, can we still call this as nucleophile? Yes, kasi competing naman sila eh. And technically, this is a nucleophile because nucleophilicity parallels basicity. Okay? So, bases in general in organic chemistry are also nucleophiles. Malakas na base pero hindi nucleophile. Tama? Third butoxide. Base yun. Pero hindi bihira siya maging nucleophile. Kasi bakit, sige nga, bakit may bihira siya maging nucleophile? Hindi, baka may tanong, hindi ko matandaan kung may tanong akong ganyan. Later, we'll see it. And then, we've discussed this already, no? So, we have here your removal of HX, no? So, ito yung natatanggal. Yung HX na to, Josh, dun sa mismong starting material mo, they are not bonded to the same carbon. In fact, saan nakabond yung alkyl halide, yung halogen mo? Sa alkyl halide, saang carbon to nakabond? Yung halogen sa alpha carbon. Tapos, ito ay correct, yung hydrogen. So, hindi dapat yan sila nasa same carbon na ang elimination ay adjacent carbons yan sila. Your hydrogen will be attached to your beta carbon that is just adjacent with your alpha carbon containing your halogen. Okay? And then, ayun. I-highlight ko lang din ito. If you will notice, Josh, no, I mentioned this already, yung alpha carbon mo, merong halogen, si beta carbon, siya yung may hydrogen. If you will notice, nasa beta position. It's also called this dehydrohalogenation. This is our model reaction for elimination. Take note, model reaction lang natin to Josh. Kasi we still have other elimination reactions. This is a beta elimination. An example of beta elimination kasi nag-i-start yung reaction with the elimination of beta hydrogen. Okay? So, di ba, ayan o, yung base mo, i-attack niya yung hydrogen dito. So, ngayon, tatanggal siya. Okay? So, we can literally say this is acidic hydrogen, no? Right? Kasi siya ang ina-attack ng ano eh, ng base eh. And we're calling it base. So therefore, this is an acidic hydrogen. So this is yun nga lang, strong base dapat ito, no? So this strong base will react with this beta hydrogen para ma-eliminate siya. And then this bond will be placed here between your alpha and beta carbon so that you'll have a carbon double bond carbon, tas maglilib ngayon si halogen. This is also called 1,2 elimination. Okay? So, bakit 1,2? Kasi nga, magkatabi lang adjacent positions lang yung carbons mo na involved. No? So, yan ngayon yung dehydrohalogenation. Take note again, inuulit-ulit ko to, model lang po ito, Josh, for our elimination reaction. You will see as we progresses, may other elimination pa. Like kunwari, pwede rin mag-eliminate dyan yung alcohol. Pwede rin maging double bond yan, etc. So, next. We also have, ito pala ay examples no, ng dehydrohalogenation. In fact, ang dehydrohalogenation is a widely used method for synthesizing alkenes. So, pag nasa alkenes na tayo, Josh, proper, no? Proper discussion ng alkenes, Josh. Ibig sabihin, isang synthesis ng alkenes ay ito, dehydrohalogenation. So, widely used method yan. Bakit? Kasi tingnan mo naman gagawin mo sa lab lang, ha? You just heat your alkyl halide with your strong base and then the reaction will proceed. Example, the secondary alkyl halide here or alkyl bromide, no? 2-bromopropane, i-react mo lang siya with sodium ethoxide in ethanol, no? 55 degrees Celsius ka lang, oh. In fact, 55 degrees Celsius lang yung temperature. You'll produce this 1-propene. Okay? Or N-propene. In a good yield na, 79%, no? Tapos sodium bromide, then ethanol yung byproduct. What is the physical manifestation if your reaction proceeded already, Josh? Or occurred? Nasabi ko ito dati, nung last time. Paano mo malalaman na ano? Paano mo malalaman na nag-proceed yung reaction? 40. So, same dito. Ayan, habang iniisip mo siya. Same dito. Correct. Yun, no? Magto-2 layers yan. Bakit? Kasi meron kang ang change of functionalities, change of solubilities. Right? So, yeah, this is quite sparingly soluble in water or in ethanol. Kasi meron ka pa rin namang alkyl halide. Yes. Ano again? If you filter, magde-decantation ka dito kasi liquid-liquid lang naman. Si sodium bromide naman ay ionic. So, this one can be dissolved in ethanol. So, ito yung magiging ethanolic phase. Tapos, ito yung organic phase mo na alkene talaga. Technically, this is also organic, right? Ethanol. So, pero when I say organic phase, this one contains your alkene. Magsa-separate yan sila. Okay? So, ganyan yung mangyayari. Like what I mentioned, no, meron kang change of solubility dito kasi nga may change of functionality. From alkyl halide, naging alkene. And alkene, we know it, this is highly insoluble in polar solvents like ethanol. So similarly, if you have third butyl bromide or 2-methyl, 2-bromo, 2-methyl propane, and nireact mo yan sa sodium ethoxide, ethanol 55 degrees Celsius. Tingnan mo to, Josh, ang taas ng yield. No? Yan. Ang taas ng yield niya. So, kahit saan naman yan, no, equal environments, you'll have 2-methyl, 1-propene. No? Or, yeah, 2-methyl, 1-propene. And then you still have sodium bromide and ethanol as your byproducts. Okay? Yeah. So, ito yung example ng specific example ng alkenes in laboratory. No? May mga condition siya. Josh, may tanong pala ako. Saan mo kinukuha yung sodium ethoxide? Saan mo kinukuha yung sodium ethoxide? Kasi si sodium ethoxide, anong function pala ni sodium ethoxide dyan? What is the role? Okay, siya yung base. How will you get it? Ano, bibili na lang ba natin? Pwede, pwede, pero, pwede naman. Pero paano kung ano, ah, hindi siya available or meron kang available na substances sa lab? Pero kaya mong mabuo yan. We can actually synthesize that. How can you synthesize sodium ethoxide? Uy, na-discuss na natin yan. Chapter 3 or chapter 4 yan. Acid-base ata yun. Hmm. How will you synthesize that? Kasi nilalagay na kita ngayon kunwari sa laboratory setup kunwari wala kang sodium ethoxide. Correct, active metal, no? So kung meron kang sodium sa mismong lab mo, tapos meron kang ethanol, i-react mo lang yun sila together. Yan. Sodium plus ethanol will form sodium ethoxide. Okay? So, meron kang gas na mabubuo dyan. Matatanggal niya yan. Okay, so, na-replace dyan si hydrogen. Hydrogen gas yung mabubuo. So, sodium ethoxide. So, you can synthesize sodium ethoxide by reacting your alcohol with the active metal sodium. Okay. So, like what I mentioned, Josh, no, the basis for elimination reactions or for this specific elimination reaction, the hydrohalogenation, are usually the hydroxides na alam natin and alkoxides. So, yung mga alkoxides, very popular yan. No? So, of course, for the hydroxides, you have sodium and potassium. For the alkoxide, you have methoxide, sodium methoxide, and third butoxide. It can be sodium or potassium as well. Or actually, kahit ano yan, kahit group 1 or group 2 metals, as long as meron kang third butoxide yan or ethoxide, same pa rin naman yan ng role, no? Dun sa reaction. So, last meeting, we've also started the identifying or how to predict the products of the hydrohalogenation or in general, elimination reactions. No? So what we need to do here is we need to identify the alpha carbon. That's easy. Just check kung sinong carbon ang merong halogen rather. Tapos, we need to identify all beta carbons. Beta carbons are just adjacent to your alpha carbon together with their beta hydrogens. No? So, beta hydrogens are attached to your beta carbons. And then, tsaka tayo mag-remove. Take note, Josh, ang hydrogen ay tatanggalin mo sa anong carbon? Ang hydrogen sa elimination na to ay tatanggalin sa ang carbon. Sa beta carbon para magkakaroon ka ng double bond between alpha and beta carbon, tsaka mo ngayon ililive. Kaya, tsaka maglilive ngayon sino yun? Si halogen. Okay. Walang problem pag identical environments, right? Kunwari, itong yung third butoxy kanina, third butoxy bromide or 2-bromo 2-methyl propane. Ito, pantay-pantay kasi yan. So, either dito yung double bond, pwede rin naman dito sa taas or sa baba. However, paano kapag unequal ngayon? May hula ka dito nung last time, Josh. Sino ang major product natin? Kasi tignan mo dalawa ngayon yung beta carbons mo. Either yung nandito, mas malapit sa terminal, or yung gigitna. Yan. So, butene ngayon ito, no? Yung mabubuo. Anong mabubuo? 1-butene or 2-butene? Ano yung major product mo dito, Josh? May hula ka na dito eh. Okay, ito. Same pa rin. Actually, consistent ka, no? Na ito yung major product mo na pinipredict. No? So, like what I mentioned, no? We'll go along with the discussion so that we can check if this is correct. If you will notice, Josh, Magkaiba kasi ng environment yung beta carbons na nakasurround dun kay alpha carbon, right? Kaya dalawang alkenes ang mabubuo. Hindi po yan sila the same, no? They're actually different compounds kasi ito nga constitutional isomers pa eh. Kasi ito ay magkakaiba sila ng bonding. Yung double bond mo ay nasa carbon between carbon 1 and 2 samantalang yung sa second compound between carbons 2 and 3, no? Um, yeah, constitutional isomers yung mabubuo. Tapos natin ito. Okay. We've already discussed also, no, actually review siya, yung alkenes. So sabi ko nga, alkenes are hydrocarbons. Ibig sabihin, part to ng alkane, alkene, alkyne series, no? Mga hydrocarbons lang ito. They just contain carbon and hydrogen elements. So yun nga lang, pag alkenes, meron kang carbon-carbon double bond anywhere within the structure. So kahit saan yan, Josh, basta meron kang carbon double bond carbon na hindi siya aromatica ay alkene yan. So, pag alkene, anong hybridization? It's sp2. Tapos ano yung molecular shape ng sp2, Josh? Okay. So, ang bond angle niyan ay 120 degrees. Pero na-mention ko rin last time, no, hindi naman perfect yan ng 120 degrees lalo na kapag may mga substituents na hindi na lang siya hydrogen, no? So it can be lesser yung sa pagitan ng mga bonds mo. Ngayon, yung alkene structure or the alkene bond is actually made up of CC double bond, one sigma bond, and one pi bond. Ang sigma bond kasi ay head-to-head overlap rather, no? Head-to-head overlap. So therefore, strong yan, no? Samantalang yung pi bond mo ay sideway overlap. So sideways lang yung overlapping ng p orbital mo. With this, no, anong masasabi mo, Josh, sa carbon double bond carbon? What can you say about the carbon double bond carbon? Okay, correct, no? Kasi nga yung pi bond natin na naka-sideways overlap, no? Hirap yan na mapabaliin natin tapos para maging in a snap. Siguro in a snap pwede. Pero may energy din yan to break the pi bond. So, parang wag ka na lang magbali ng bond. So, feeling ko the molecules themselves will not break the pi bonds unless they will react. Hmm. May isa pang pi bond, di ba? Ay, may isa pang... hindi. Hindi. Usually, dapat sideways overlap yan. Talagang oriented sila na together. Meron pang isang p orbital dito, right? Nasaan? Yeah, correct. Kailangan mo din kasi i-approach yung mga yung orientation nila. Ito pa, right? Ito may p orbital pa dito sa ano, 'di ba, sa mismong plane. Pero tama. Pero mga anti-bonding pa 'yan. Kasi wala pang bond 'yan eh. Okay? Yan yung bubuo ng triple bond mo. Okay? Yung nasa sides nila. Yung nasa plane mismo, and then pag nag-sideway overlap, yan na ngayon yung triple bond mo. Okay? So with this, your alkene is actually restricted in motion. The C double bond C is restricted in motion. Like any other functionalities, pwede rin natin i-classify yung alkenes, no? So we will just look dun sa mga nakabond surrounding your C double bond C. Kapag isa lang yung R group, that's your monosubstituted alkene. Pag dalawa, disubstituted. May scenario din na ang disubstituted mo ay pwedeng ganito or pwede rin kabilaan, right? Tama ba, Josh? Yeah. So, yan yung mga possible scenario niya. Sige nga, ano yung mga possible scenario dito sa disubstituted, Josh? Can you, write? Kasi ano to parang prediction to ng mga susunod. Okay. Meron pa ba? Yeah. Ah, mhm. Tapos yung pag nasa baba naman, the same molecule na lang siya nung nasa taas. Okay? Mm, yeah. So those are the possible no na orientation for your disubstituted alkenes. Pag trisubstituted, tatlo, yeah. Meron pa kasi. Yan yung iaano ko sa iyo sa mga susunod na slides so ipapakita. So we have trisubstituted and then tetrasubstituted. So tandaan mo to ha, yung ganitong formation ng alkenes kasi sa stability ng alkenes silitaw yan ulit sila. Okay. So like what I mentioned no, unlike your sigma bonds no or carbon single bond carbon, they cannot easily rotate no. So with this, wala tayong mga eclipse saka anti-conformation sa alkenes. However, hindi, pero 'di ba less of naming, pero actually mayroon din kasi siyang mga sariling system like kung hindi siya pwedeng ma-rotate, ibig sabihin nun, restricted din yung diastereomer na mabubuo natin. So you have the cis isomer and trans isomer. Ito yung na-mention natin kanina. Yeah. I take note, Josh, the cis and trans isomer, they are different molecules. They will have different properties. So, magkaiba yan talaga sila. So, pero same yung attachment, no? May question ako. Mirror images ba sila? Definitely no. So, ano sila? Kung hindi sila enantiomers, pero stereoisomers yan sila na non-mirror images. Ano? Diastereomers So, itong mga diastereomers na to, in specific din, geometric isomers, no? Yan. Cis-butene and trans-2-butene are diastereomers. We also call them geometric isomers, no? Sabi ko nga sa'yo, nanghiram lang din naman yung organic chemistry ng concept dun kay coordination chemistry dun sa inorganic. Ang cis and trans sa inorganic ay mga geometric isomers. Similarly, geometric isomer din yan. Yung cis and trans, no? Non-mirror images, cis and trans yan sila, no? Geometric isomers. They are still stereoisomers because they have the same bonds all throughout, no? Mm-hmm. Mm. So, basta ang mahalaga dito, ma-take note natin na magkaiba sila ha. So, say, alam mo naman na to, same side yung cis, then trans ay opposite side. Later, meron ka pa makikitang, hindi ko alam kung nandito sa ano na to. Hindi, iba yun. Sa octahedral yan, sa octahedral may mga facial tsaka meridional. Anyways, tsaka sa ano, sa trigonal bipyramidal. Anyways, Josh, may isa pang naming system for alkenes. So, we'll discuss that sa slide na yun, specific slide or specific topic. Ayan. So, if you have two groups on each end of the carbon-carbon double bond from each other, so cis-trans isomers are actually possible. So, kapag yung two groups ay magkaiba dito, tapos ay different din dun sa kabilang side, stereoisomers yan sila. So, C double bond C are possible when these two groups must be different from each other and these two groups must also be different from each other. So, you'll have the cis-trans isomerism. So, dapat ang mahalaga dito, Josh, ang para masabi mong may cis-trans isomerism ka, basta may two similar groups ka. Okay? Dapat may two similar groups ka dito, Josh. Kasi pwedeng yung isa kunwari ito, yung X mo dito, Josh, hydrogen. Tapos yung X prime mo ay ethyl group. Yung Y mo ay, let's say, bromine. Tapos yung Y prime mo ay ethyl group. Meron ka bang cis-trans doon? So si X prime, both X prime and Y prime, Josh, ay ethyl group. Pero yung X mo, hydrogen, yung Y mo ay chlorine. Meron ka bang ano, Josh? Ano nga tawag dito? Cis trans isomerism doon? Yes, Josh? Yes, meron ha, as long as meron kang dalawang groups na parehas. So, on each end of a carbon, double bond. So, kahit magkaiba yung XY mo, kasi lagi tayo na-expose si XY ay parehas. Let's say, hydrogen, hydrogen to. Tapos si X prime ethyl group, Y prime ethyl group. So, may cis-trans isomerism ka doon. Paano kung magkaiba to hydrogen tsaka, let's say, alkyl halide nga? Still the same, no? Basta makakapag-decide ka ng yung dalawang group na same mo ay nasa magkabila ang dulo ng carbon sa double bond mo. They are attached to the different carbons in a double bond. You can still have cis-trans isomerism. Okay? So, with that, ay mag-end na lang yung meeting natin just ng 10 minutes ha. Join ka lang. Pero with that, Josh, yan, nasa ano na tayo. Another practice sa example. So, pwedeng paano nito, Josh? Pa-screenshot. By the way, Josh, nilagay ko na yung topic natin today dun sa lecture natin. Dun sa G Drive. Okay na to? Okay, sige. Then, share ko lang yung ating whiteboard. Ayan. Gre-reload lang siya, Josh. Off lang ako ng video, Josh, kasi parang nafe-feel ko ay nagla-lag siya. Ayan. Okay. So, pwede kang sa kabila or dito sa kukontinue mo lang to. It's up to you. Saan mo siya ilalagay? Will form another column or kukontinue mo lang muna? Okay. Sige, go ahead. Ayan, for number 1, saan na ba tayo? Ano po? Mm-mm. Ayan, yung micronutrients sa chemistry, Josh, structures ang inaaral mo doon. So, yun yung approach namin dyan sa mga micronutrients saka sa vitamins. Kasi iba-iba po yung approach at point of view niya eh. Mm-mm. So ayan, i-classify mo lang yung alkene kung monosubstituted, disubstituted, trisubstituted, etc. Josh, tingnan mo to. Paano kapag yung vitamin A, minirror mo siya tapos mawawala tong OH, diniretso mo siya. Minirror mo yan, tapos yan, nakakabit din doon. Ano kaya yung itsura nun? May naaalala ka? Kunwari ito i-mirror mo yan, tapos mawawala tong OH, naka-double bond ulit, ganun, ganun. Tapos, yan, ganyan. Kung ilan yung bilang dito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ganun ulit. Yan. Magbaband dito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tapos, alam mo kung sino yon? Anong molecule yon? Beta-carotene. Oo. Makakat. Mm. Parang pag may beta-carotene oxidase ka, ikakat niya yan, yung enzyme. Yun yung enzyme for cutting your beta-carotene. Tapos mabubuo mo ay mga retinol tsaka retinoic acid. Vitamin D3. Si vitamin D3 yan. Anong ano ng vitamin D3? Ah, chemical form or chemical structure. Si vitamin A kasi, ano yan, retinol tsaka retinoic acid. Si vitamin D, yan, itong D3 ay, ano yan, I think derivative or, ano yan eh, precursor, si vitamin D3. Siya na talaga yung, ano, active form. Siya ang active form ni vitamin D. Yeah, cholecalciferol yan. Very good. So, ayan, habang sinasagutan mo yan, no, checkan natin ito. Okay, correct. Quaternary ito kasi apat. Yung mismong double bonds mo dito, apat yung alkyl groups. Ito, dalawa lang. Ito, tatlo. Dalawa, tatlo. Correct. O how about sa letter B, Josh? Letter B natin sa cholecalciferol. Okay, correct, no? So sa cholecalciferol naman natin, you have here, yes, trisubstituted to. This is still trisubstituted. Ito ay disubstituted lang kasi na nasa isang site ng carbon, no? So, yung dalawang alkyl groups mo. Okay. Next, for number 2, for which alkenes are stereoisomers possible? So, kailangan natin ng stereoisomer dito. Sa number 2, sa ano daw ang possible dyan ng stereoisomers? If if meron kang stereoisomer, i-drawing mo, Josh, or illustrate that. Number 2. Hindi, number 2. Tapos yan eh. Mm. Ayan, for letter A, possible ba yung ano dyan, stereoisomerism? Ayan. I-draw mo kung ano yung mga possible na stereoisomers. So, B and C ang possible. So, i-ano natin yung A. Bakit yung A hindi pwede, Josh? Ah, yeah, identical. Hindi, nasa same side yung identical nila. Dapat sinabi doon sa ano, sa mismong cis-trans isomerism, dapat yung same na groups mo ay dapat nasa magkabilaang side ng double bond. So dahil same to, parang you cannot distinguish kung cis or trans to. So yung A, walang geometric stereoisomerism, no? Yung B possible and yung C possible. So ito yung sa C mo. Eh yung sa B. Then note mo kung ano yung isomerism na meron. Okay, good. Yan. So note mo lang kung anong isomerisms din. This will be, okay, yan yung cis, ito yung trans. How about sa C? Okay. So yung A, di ba parang pwede rin tong cis, yung A? Kasi hydrogen lang naman yun nandito eh. So yung A dapat cis din? Hmm. Ano, yung A dapat cis din? Bakit? Eh parang ano naman sila, oh, tingnan mo, oh. Sa same side naman yung mismong, ano to, propyl group. Okay. Mm. So, basta tandaan mo ha, yung metal groups kasi dito, sa iisang side nung double bond, same. So, hindi tayo ngayon makapag-decide kung cis or trans yan. Dapat, yung two similar groups daw ay nasa magkabilaang side. No? Hindi naman literally similar, pero dapat distinguishable yung pagiging cis and trans nung structure natin. This. Correct. How about letter 3? Number 3. So, A, B, C, D yan. Label each pair of alkenes as constitutional isomers, stereoisomers, or identical. Baka same molecule lang naman kasi. Ayan. Yung letter A, stereoisomer, constitutional, or identical? Sige lang. Yan, nandito rin naman eh. Stereoisomer din naman siya. Naglo-load pala tong video ko. Off ko lang ako ng video, Joshua. Open ko ulit siya in a while. So, check ko na kagad to, yung letter A, constitutional. Correct. Constitutional yung letter A kasi magkaiba yung positioning ng double bond. Tapos yung letter B, is this identical? Correct. No? So, 1, 2. Okay, 2 pentene. 2 pentene parehas yan. So, letter C, cis-trans to, definitely, diastereomers or stereoisomer. Letter D, constitutional nga ba ito? Yes, constitutional to, no? Yep, constitutional isomer. So, magkaiba kasi yung attachment ng atoms. Very good. Okay, we're going to go back, no? Go back to our presentation. Tapos, ay, what? Ayan. Ano na ngayon nakikita mo, Josh? Yung ano ko na ulit, presentation. Okay, go. So, good with this one? Yeah. So ngayon, ang susunod na question kasi natin dito, Josh, ay yung stability ng mga alkenes. No? Between cis and trans alkenes, sino ang mas stable, Josh? Because it's obvious, right? So, sino ang mas stable? So, dito nakalagay ay more stable ang trans. Actually, na-discuss na natin ito even sa inorganic chemistry no, or general chemistry natin na in general, yung mga trans isomers or stereoisomers are generally, what do you call this? Generally more stable compared to your um, cis stereoisomers kasi mas maluwag, no? Yung space nila. So, pag cis-alkene kasi, or yeah, specifically cis-alkene, nagkakaroon ka ng steric interaction or steric hindrance gawa na magkatapat yung mga groups mo, no? Alkyl groups mo. So, nagkakaroon ng parang, ito pala, yung parang eclipse, no? Na conformation. Pero this is not an eclipse, conformation, similar lang siya, Josh, dun sa nangyari, no? Kasi naging nagtapatan yung mga alkyl groups mo dun sa other end of your carbons. Okay? So pag trans, yeah, serixtane. Serixtane yan kasi for at least 4 bonds sila separated. Tapos hindi angular strain, torsional. So, ayan na. If you will notice here, yung actually ang may serine dito, ito, yung hydrogen-hydrogen talaga. Or pwede rin naman itong buong methyl group. Dalawa yan sila. Pero ang pinaka nag-i-interact kasi talaga dito, yung dalawang hydrogen na yan. So, less stable ngayon ang cis isomer. So, or cis stereoisomer. So, with that, we can actually predict yung stability ng alkenes. So, ito yung mismong stability niya, Josh. So the stability of an alkene increases as the number of R groups bonded to the double bond carbons increases. So sino ang pinakaliste? Ay, igawa mo to ng ano? Ng structure, Josh. Yung generic. Sige, go ahead, Josh. Gawa mo yan ng mga structures. Ayan, sa baba. Para at least makikita mo. Ayan, tapos HH. Hindi, sige, lagyan mo ng... okay, pwede. Ayan. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. So, ang pinaka-least pala ay si ethene, no? Susunod, ayan, yung may alkyl group na isa, tapos yung nasa same side. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Pinaka-stable yung tetra-substituted mo. May question ako, Josh. Bakit approximate ang energies nitong nung dalawang nasa gitna? Ito yung dalawang nasa gitna, yung disubstituted. Bakit approximate ang ano nila? Approximately the same. Hindi sila ganon ka-different? Dahil, I don't know. Di ba? So, so in general, ang mga disubstituted na alkenes ay yes, similar sila. So, dahil nga naman, yung positioning lang naman ng double bond yung nagkaiba sa kanila. Okay, pero nonetheless, they will still have the same effects, no, dun sa double bond. May tanong ako, Josh. Tingin mo, ano yung reason behind this arrangement? Bakit pinaka-stable yung ibig sabihin yung alkene pala gusto niya marami siyang alkyl groups na nakasurround sa kanya. Bakit kaya? Pero gusto ng ano mo, alkene. Maraming alkyl groups na nakasurround sa kanya. Correct. Inductive effects pa rin yan. Okay? So, inductive effects talaga yung pinaka major reasoning dyan. Pero, aside from that, Josh, no, meron pa tayong another way to prove yung mismong arrangement na yan. So, the stability in alkenes is, the stability of alkenes are, the stability in alkenes is also shown by the heat of hydrogenation. So actually, heat of reaction lang din to, no? So, heat of reaction. Pero dahil hydrogenation yung reaction, we call this heat of hydrogenation. So, what is hydrogenation first? We don't have yet, no, the discussion for this, Josh. Pero ito ay isa sa mga reaction ni alkenes. What can you notice about the hydrogenation? Tignan mo. Describe mo lang siya, Josh. Ayan yung reaction. yung nasa taas ng diagram. What can you say about the reaction? Meron kang alkene, tapos ano nangyari? Pag ang hydrogenation ay conversion from what to where? Correct. So ang hydrogenation, true. Hydrogenation yan eh. So ang hydrogenation is actually conversion of alkene to alkane. Okay? Or pwede rin namang alkene to alkyne, alkyne to alkene, then alkene to alkane. Okay? Hydrogenation pa rin naman yun. I-discuss natin yan. Meron tayong separate na chapter for this, yung mga reduction reactions, redox, no, in organic chemistry. So ngayon, if you will notice, Josh, para mag-occur yung hydrogenation, anong need mo? And what can you say about the energy change? For your hydrogenation, yeah. For your hydrogenation to occur, anong need mo? Hindi For hydrogenation to occur, ano pa yung other material mo? Correct. So you have platinum there as catalyst. Okay? Tapos mabubuo ngayon si alkane. Tapos upon hydrogenation, ano ang energy change? Is that endo or exo? Sa hydrogenation ay exothermic, so nagre-release to ng energy, Josh. Okay? So, ngayon, if you will notice, Josh, no, bawat alkenes, yan, tignan mo lahat sila ay four chain na alkenes, no? You have 1 butene there, 2 butene na cis, and trans 2 butene. Sino ang may pinakamaliit na heat na ni-release? Ibig sabihin, siya din yung pinaka-stable. Si trans 2 butene. Tapos followed by cis 2 butene, and then yung N-butene or 1 butene, siya ngayon yung pinaka mataas. Giving us an idea that the less yung alkyl groups na nakasurround dun sa double bond, mas unstable yan sila. Or least stable, kumbaga. No? So, pinaka least stable natin dyan, si alkene, si ethene talaga, yun, no? Kasi puro hydrogen lang yun. So, ito yung isang proof, Josh, na itong arrangement natin na to, yan. So, as we increase the number of R groups, we also increase the stability of your alkene. So, we can prove that via this heat of hydrogenation. Okay? So, there's another reason for the stability of alkenes. So, ang shortcut, Josh, ay yung sa inductive effect din. Ang inductive effect, mas magiging effective kasi siya, Josh, kapag may mas mataas na percent S character. Clear? So, ano ba nangyari pag sp2? Sige nga, natatandaan mo, anong S character for sp3? For sp3, okay, pag sp2, okay. Kapag sp, pag sp, triple bond yun. 50% na yung S character mo. So ngayon, the higher the percent S character, the more readily an atom accepts electron density. Okay? So ibig sabihin, yung mga double bond natin na carbons, mas mataas yung S character nila kumpara kay CH3. So therefore, they can readily accept electron density. So this will make your double bond more stable. So thus, sp2 carbons are more able to accept electron density than sp3 carbons. So with this, no, you increase the number of electron donating groups on a carbon atom able to accept electron density, makes the alkene more stable. Yung mga alkyl groups kasi like CH3, CH2, CH3, etc. No? Yung alkyl groups natin, they are actually electron donating group. This R group, like kunwari yung metal dito, this one donates electron density to your C double bond C sa alkene. So yung alkene, dahil mas mataas yung S character niya, the group readily accepts electron density. So as a result, the increasing the number of electron donating R groups or alkyl groups on a carbon atom able to accept electron density makes the alkene more stable. So dapat ang gusto mong malagay, Josh, sa alkenes mo ay electron donating para mas maging stable sila. Paano kung alkyl halide yun? I mean, halogen yung nakadikit dyan. Electron donating ba yung halogen? Yes, Josh? Oh, electron donating ba yung hydrogen? Mm-mm. So, ibig sabihin, mas gagawin niyang unstable yung alkene mo? Di ba? Nick, tanong ko lang yan. Generic question lang. Correct. Kasi, ang gusto ng alkene mo, yung mga nag-donate ng electron kasi electron din siya eh. So, therefore, dapat sa kanya papunta yung electrons din. So, pag electron donating ang nakakabit kay alkene, mas nagiging stable siya. Pag electron withdrawing, mas nagiging unstable ang alkene mo. Kasi nga, nangyayari doon pag electron withdrawing, Josh, instead na yung electrons mo nasa double bond, hindi hinahatak pa siya ng electron withdrawing papunta sa kanya, making your alkene or the double bond less stable. Clear ba tayo dito, Josh? Are you getting me? So ano nga ulit ang gusto mo for carbon double bond carbon? Electron donating or electron withdrawing? Ay, ang gusto mo sa alkene? Mm-mm. Para papunta sa alkene, no? Mas magiging stable siya. Okay. So, ngayon, if you will notice, ito ngayon yung arrangement ng two butenes. This is evident also in the heat of hydrogenation. So, ganyan din yon. So, you have 1 butene as your least stable, then mid-stable si cis-2-butene, then pinaka-stable ay si trans-2-butene. So, you also have fewer steric interactions here. Mas stable ang mga mas maraming substituent. So, yung mga tetra-substituted, tri-substituted, di-substituted, in arrangement, no, naka-arrange na sila, mas stable sila compared to your mono-substituted. Ano pa si ethene, no? Na puro hydrogen lang. So, siya ang pinaka-least stable among the alkenes, no? So in summary, take note Josh, no, the trans-2-butene is more stable than cis-2-butene gawa nung less crowding, less steric interaction. So trans-alkenes in general are more stable than cis-alkenes, Josh. And then, because they have fewer steric interactions unlike your cis-alkenes, no? Tapatan kasi sila. So meron kang crowding na nangyayari, meron kang steric hindrance, kumbaga. And then, or steric strain. If you increase the alkyl substitution, this stabilizes the alkene, gawa ng electron donating inductive effect. So, ibig sabihin, pag electron withdrawing ang nakadikit kay alkene, mas magiging unstable yung alkene mo. Clear ba tayo doon, Josh? Sige nga, bigay ka nga ng electron withdrawing pa na na group. Aside from alkyl halides or halogen. Mm-hmm. Meron pa. Okay, depende sa oxygen na. Kasi baka, paano kapag naka-carboxylate? Diba? So, Ayan, alcohols, electron withdrawing or electron donating? Alcohol, electron withdrawing or electron donating? Alcohol, alcohol, electron withdrawing or electron donating? Okay, kasi nga, ang electronegativity ay ah ng oxygen ay mataas din, no? So, withdrawing yan. Pero yung mga carboxylate, yeah, withdrawing yon, no? Yung mga carboxylate kasi hahatakin nung mga si nung dalawang oxygen yung mga electron mo via inductive effect. Okay, so with this, ayan Josh, i-ano mo siya, i-screenshot mo. Okay na Josh. Then share ko yung whiteboard natin ha. Saan na yun? Yes, tapos. Okay. Ayan na, Josh. Hmm. Saan mo siya idudugtong? It's up to you. Saan? Dito na lang? Okay. So for number 1, which alkene in each pair is more stable? Okay, go ahead lang, Josh. Sagutan mo siya. Josh, continue mo lang sagutan ha. Mag-ano lang ako. Magko-comfort room lang ha. Ayun, Josh. Ayan, may sagot ka na sa 3. Ayan, check lang natin din itong 1A mo. Which alkene in each pair is more stable? Okay, good. Ito. Kasi nga, mas madaming alkyl groups kaysa dito sa terminal, no? Terminal siya eh. Tapos ito, okay. Saan? Angle string? Angle string. Okay. So, yung sa letter B, bakit mas 1B? Bakit mas stable yung nasa kanan? The right structure. Sige, quick lang. Quick explanation. 1A. Correct, tama ito. So, nasabi ko na pala yung sagot, no? Alkyl groups, no? Dalawa kasing alkyl groups to. Kumpara dito na monosubstituted. Sa letter B, 1B. Bakit ito ang mas stable? Okay, trans, correct. Sa letter C, 1C. Okay, correct. Sa letter D, arrange mo yung stability nito. Okay. So, sino pinaka-stable? Okay. Okay. And then ito ang least. Very good. And then for number 2, while cis and trans 2-butene differ in stability by only 3 kJ per mole, cis and trans 2255 tetramethyl 3-hexene differ in stability by 44 kJ per mole. Explain why the difference in the stability of the second pair of alkene isomers is so much larger. Can you draw, Josh, yung cis and trans 2255 tetramethyl 3-hexene? I-draw mo yung 22 cis trans 2255 tetramethyl 3-hexene para we can clearly see na talagang sila. Mas malaki yung difference. Sige, dito na sa taas ng sagot mo. Yan yun, 2255, 2255, 3-hexene. Dito na lang sa taas ng sagot mo dito sa number 2. Kasi nandito sila eh. Ayan. Yan. I-versus lang naman natin. Yung cis trans lang yung need natin. Okay. Sige, tanggalin mo lang yan. Delete mo na lang kung gusto mo. Yan. Ano yan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, correct. Nakikita ko. So ngayon, in 2-butene, the groups attached to a double bond are just hydrogen, correct, and methyl. So the steric strength is minimal if the methyls face each other. However, in trans 2255 tetramethyl 3hexene, the groups are hydrogen and third butyl, very good, which is very bulky. So in the cis conformation, there is significant steric strain. Actually, hindi lang siya significant talaga, no? Kasi malaki. There's a bigger energy difference. Okay, tama. So ang shortcut dito, mas bulky kasi yung mga substituents mo for this second pair of stereoisomers. Alkene stereoisomers. Correct. Which is third butyl. Ayun, babalik pala ako doon, Josh, sa tanong ko. Si third butyl oxide, is that a good base or a good nucleophile? Si third butyl oxide, kunwari, sodium third butyl oxide, is that a good base or a good nucleophile? Anong i-prefer niya? Anong i-prefer niya? Substitution or elimination or both? So, ibig sabihin kaya niya rin substitution? Bakit siya may strain sa substitution? Right. Tama ba ako? Sige, bakit ayaw niya or hindi niya i-prefer yung substitution? Pero sabi mo kasi strong nucleophile yun. I mean, good nucleophile. Right? Si third butoxide ito ha. Third butyl oxide mo or third butoxide. Ano siya? Strong nucleophile or strong base? Side. Strong nucleophile, strong base. So, ibig sabihin, mag-undergo din siya ng substitution reaction. Correct. So, in fact, ang third butoxide, very rare siya mag SN1 or SN2. Basta mag-substitution reactions. Very rare yan. Kasi nahihirapan siya. Kunwari, SN2, magpa-backside attack siya. Dun sa ano. Ha? Merong malakas na nucleophile, pero hindi siya strong base. Parang bihira. Competing talaga sila eh. Ngayon, gagawa mo na lang ng sitwasyon, Josh, nang babagoy mo environmental condition para para makuha mo yung preferred na major product mo. May ano yan, makikita mo. Pero marami tayo, Josh, na case na strong base sila, pero poor nucleophile. They will not undergo substitution reaction. Yan, kamukha niya si third butoxide. Strong base siya, pero hindi siya mag-undergo usually ng substitution. Elimination siya. Gawa nung pagiging bulky. So yun yung clue mo. Pag bulky yung nucleophile mo, hindi siya magiging poor nucleophile siya. Pero strong base siya. Pwede siyang maging strong base. And it will prefer elimination reactions. Okay, like third butoxide. Okay? So that is correct. For number 3, several factors can affect alkene stability. Explain why alkene A is more stable than alkene B. Alkene B, even though both contain a substituted carbon-carbon double bond. So in fact, ito ay madali, no? Kitang-kita na yung sagot. Kasi sa B, mas mataas yung angle strain, no? Dun sa cyclobutene. So instead of 90 degrees, instead of 120 degrees, naging 90 degrees yung cyclobutene mo. Samantalang sa A, close to ideal, no? Na 120 degrees yan. So in fact, ang cyclohexane ay around 19, 109, 108, no? Ideal pa rin siya dun sa single bond. Okay, so pero 120 okay din yan siya. 120 degrees, causing significant constant angle strain. So ang shortcut, angle strain, may additional kang angle strain kay letter B. From na supposed to be 120 degrees, ginawa mo siyang, pinilit mo, no, into 90. This is correct. So ayan, ito ay mas unstable. By the way, Josh, so kung unstable yung mga ganito, possible ba na magkaroon ng cyclobutene? Tama ba? Kung unstable yung mga yan, possible ba na magkaroon ng cyclobutene? Eh, cyclopropene, possible ba siya? In fact, pwede. Siya ang smallest, yes. Siya ang smallest natin na, na cycloalkene. Hindi, pwede yan. Pero very, siya, highly strained siya. Mm-mm. So, yan, mabilis siyang mag-ring open kaagad. Okay. So, pero possible. Kaya niya yan. Pag pumunta na tayo sa alkenes, may kita mo specifically cycloalkenes, we'll go back dito sa mga discussion na to sa stability. So with that, let's go back to our discussions. Ayan. Ano na nakikita mo, Josh? Yan. Okay. So, ngayon, alam na natin ito, no, Josh, that vinylic and phenyl halides are actually unreactive. So, bakit, no? Yun yung tanong natin. So, why are your vinylic and phenyl halides unreacting via SN1 or SN2 reactions? Because both of them are unreactive in SN1 reactions because vinylic and phenyl cations, carbocations, are relatively unstable and they do not form readily. Bakit? Ano ba yung mabubuo kapag carbocation yan? Sige nga, Josh, i-convert mo yan into carbocations. I-convert mo yung vinylic halide mo tsaka phenyl halide to carbocations via SN1. Kasi di ba ang SN1 nagbubuo ng carbocations? Mm-hmm. So, bakit unstable ba sila? Baka yung phenyl carbocation mo, unstable ba yun? Kasi kunwari, nag-leave yung mga yan. Magiging unstable ba yun? Bakit? Yun yung tanong ko, bakit unstable? Sa carbon na may double bond. Correct. Ang weird, no? Ang ironic niya, ang alkene mo ay highly electronegative siya in the sense na electron-rich rather yung alkene mo. Tapos lalagyan mo siya ng positive. So unstable yon. Okay? So they do not form readily and relatively unstable. Ngayon, ano naman yung problem sa SN2? Kasi wala namang carbocation formation sa SN2 eh. However, they are unreactive in SN2 reactions because the carbon-halogen bond of a vinylic or phenyl halide is actually stronger than that of an alkyl halide. And the electrons of the double bond or benzene ring repel the approach of a nucleophile from the backside attack. Di ba ang nucleophile mo electron-rich, Josh? Right? So ngayon, imagine mo magba-backside attack siya via SN2 sa phenyl or vinylic. Eh ang phenyl at vinylic mo, mga alkenes to eh, electron-rich din sila. So therefore, ire-repel lang siya. No? Kaya hindi favorable ang substitution reactions both no SN1 and SN2 for vinylic and phenyl halides. Yun yung explanation natin dyan ngayon. Kung bakit unreactive yung vinylic and phenyl halides. Ngayon, we will now discuss, Josh, mag-start na tayo, for the elimination mechanisms. Naalala mo for SN1, we have SN2 and SN1, right? Same here. Similarly, we have two mechanisms of elimination, E2 and E1, just as there are two mechanisms of substitution. So, we'll start with E2. So, bakit E2 ang term? So, the E2 mechanism is a bimolecular elimination. So, ano nga ibig sabihin ulit, Josh, ng bimolecular? Anong ano nun? Ibig sabihin? Pag yung kunwari, yung 2 sa SN2, yung 1 sa SN1. So, unimolecular yun for SN1. So, magkaka-idea ka, ang E1 dito, unimolecular din. So, ang E2, bimolecular. So, when you say bimolecular, ano yun? Anong meaning nito? Naalala mo pa, Josh? Yeah. SN2, bimolecular nucleophilic substitution. Ito, bimolecular elimination, E2. Hindi, ano ba meaning ng bimolecular dyan? Bakit bimolecular yung mga yon? Si SN2 tsaka si E2. Bakit bimolecular sila? Bimolecular substitution and bimolecular elimination. Yes, Josh. Bakit bimolecular sila? Hindi niya na maalala. Alam mo kung bakit? Ano? Hindi. Bimolecular siya kasi nakadepende yung rate mo sa dalawang materials, starting materials. For, naalala mo for SN2? Correct. Definitely, unimolecular ang SN1 tsaka E1 eh. Naalala mo sa SN2, saan nakadepende ang rate mo? Both on what? Sino yon? Yung nucleophile at yung alkyl halide. Similar yan dito. So, ang starting materials mo, si alkyl halide, tsaka yung reagent mo, yung base, doon nakadepende ang rate natin ngayon. So, kaya siya bimolecular elimination. Samantalang si E1 mechanism, unimolecular elimination, you will know later din, no? Or sa mga next slides natin. Isa lang yung concentration na kaya maka-affect dun sa rate. Yun ay yung alkyl halide lang. Okay? So, the E2 and E1 mechanisms, they differ in timing of bond cleavage and bond formation. Analogous to the SN2 and SN1 mechanisms. Di ba, kung maalala mo, yung SN2 and SN1, si SN2, ano to? Ilang steps yung mechanism? Single step, concerted yung term natin, di ba? Concerted reaction yan, or concerted mechanism rather. Sa SN1, how many steps? Okay, may formation of intermediate, no, for SN1. Similar yan dito kay E2 and E1. So si E2 ay concerted, si E1 ay multi-step. So two-step mechanism din yan sa actually si E1. So ngayon, ito ang mga competing. E2 and SE2 reactions have some features in common. They are competing reactions as do E1 and SN1 reactions, which are also competing reactions. Ngayon, may mga clue ka dyan, Josh, kung sino yung mananalo. Kunwari, E2 versus SN2. Sino kaya ang mabubuong major product? Ito yung nakakalito dyan, Josh. Kasi, parang competing kasi pala sila eh. So, paano kung may secondary alkyl halide ka? Tapos, ito yung given mo nucleophile na kayang mag-act as substituent at kaya din maging base. Nakakalito 'yon, no? So anong mabubuong product? Kasi laban na 'yun ng lahat. E2 versus SN2. Secondary alkyl halide to. Pwede rin siya mag-E1 tsaka SN1, right? So how can you decide if that specific reaction will undergo E2, SN2, E1, or SN1 in majority, no? So ano yung magiging major product natin? So let's start first with the E2 mechanism. So when you say E2 mechanism, this is the most common mechanism for dehydrohalogenation, in fact, no? So E2 ang pine-prefer ni dehydrohalogenation. It exhibits second order kinetics because both the alkyl halide and the base appear in the rate equation. Ibig sabihin nun, yung concentration si alkyl halide and base, they can affect the rate of your reaction. And this one, same with SN2, the reaction is concerted. So ang nangyayari dito, lahat ng bonds na mabibreak at lahat ng bonds na mabubuo, lahat ay nasa single step. So, ibig sabihin yan, Josh, challenging yung transition step dito. Naalala mo yung transition step. Transition state. Ano yung transition state for SN2, Josh? Sige nga, ano yung transition state sa SN2? Naalala mo, Josh? SN2. Well, walang intermediate pero may transition state yan kasi single step yan, basta may step. Meron kang formation ng, correct, the pentavalent carbon. So, same din dito. Tingnan mo to sa E2 mechanism, ha. Sa E2 mechanism, yung base mo, i-attack niya yung beta hydrogen. Tapos, donate mo kagad yung bond from hydrogen, beta hydrogen, tsaka beta carbon between alpha carbon and beta carbon. Tapos, tsaka aalis si halogen na nakadikit kay alpha carbon. You now have your new pi bond and your new compound, no, na alkene. Then, byproducts sila H2O tsaka bromide. So, these are close parallels between E2 and SN2 mechanisms in how the identity of the base, the leaving group, and the solvent affect the rate. So, pag E2 mechanism, Josh, sabay na mababali ang CH and CX, yung carbon, beta carbon, beta hydrogen bond, at saka yung alpha carbon halogen bond. And dalawang bonds din yung mabubuo. Yung bond between hydrogen and base, kasi nga acid-base reaction niya, and the pi bond itself. So, ngayon, may tanong ako, Josh, thermodynamically speaking, favorable ba to? Favorable ba yung E2 mechanism? Favorable siya. Correct, actually favorable yan. Pero bakit? Anong parameter ang makikita mo agad na kapansin-pansin na, okay, magpo-proceed to into completion kasi what can you say about the number of products and starting materials? Sino ang mas marami? Yung starting material or yung products? Yung mas maraming molecule, Josh. Yes, Josh. Correct. So, entropy-driven ito. So, entropy favors the products of an E2 reaction. Oh, di ba? Pag entropy, mas gusto mo yung degraded siya. Mas marami siya. Kasi mas magulo yun eh. More molecules, ibig sabihin, mas magulong system. So, the entropy favors the products, product formation for an E2 reaction. So, here comes your energy diagram for an E2 reaction. So, tingnan mo to, Josh, ha? What can you say about the alkyl halide? Yun na lang muna. Yes, Josh? Anong type ng alkyl halide yan? Ayan, ito. Yung nasa energy diagram. Tertiary. Tapos may hydroxide ka. Strong base to, right? So, tapos mag-undergo ng elimination. So, eliminated na ngayon. Then you have water and bromide ion, no? Ngayon, tignan mo Josh yung energy diagram. So, yung uh, tert butyl bromide plus hydroxide, ito yung energy level nila. Mas mababa yun ng onti yung products mo, no? Tapos may EA ka dyan or activation energy. If you will notice, yung ano yung transition state ng E2? Sige, explain mo nga yung transition state ng E2, Josh. What can you say? What can you see here? Ilang bonds ang involved sa transition state? Okay. Asan yung pentavalent dyan? Yeah. Both alpha and beta carbon. Okay? Yeah, pentavalent. Oh, how many bonds are involved in this E2 mechanism? Yes, Josh, how many bonds are involved? Apat yan. Tapos, ano-ano yung mga bonds na mababali? Ano-ano yung mga bonds na mabubuo? Sige, check mo yung yung mechanism. Bonds broken muna. Mhm. Three bonds broken, one bond form. Sige nga, asan yung mga bonds na break muna? Sige, lagyan, ibilugan mo sila. Asan yung mga bonds na nabali, Josh? Oh, bakit na bond broken yung HOOH? Ayan. Nako ha, dalawa lang yan. Dalawang broken, dalawang form. Nasabi ko yan kanina. Kasi you'll form water eh. At saka yung pi bond mo, another bond form yun. Okay? So, ganyan ang transition state, Josh ha. Take note that you will have partial negative charges on your alkyl halide tsaka dun sa base. So, pare silang partially negative. Okay. So, with this, Josh, ayan. Ano mo muna to? Screenshot. Okay. Then, lipat tayo sa iyo ating whiteboard. Okay. Oh, depends on you where will you place that. Saan mo nilagay, Josh? Idudugtong mo ba dito? Okay. So for number one, use curved arrows to show the movement of electrons in the following E2 mechanism. Draw the structure of the transition state. And for number two, why is third the CH33 CCH2Br inert one E2 elimination? So inert daw yan sa E2 elimination, yung alkyl halide na yan. Go ahead, Josh. Ano yan? 3-bromo, 3-ethyl pentane. Mhm. Yeah, parang ano. Yeah, the three parang three-legged symbol. Swerte, equal environments ba yan? Equal ba yung mga beta carbons mo, Josh? For that? Check mo kung equal environments yung mga carbons mo dyan. Correct. I need the mechanism. Pakita mo na lang yung mechanism sa baba. Hindi yan magkakasya dyan. Yeah, ethanol. ETOH, pwede din. May tanong pa sa one. Draw the structure of the transition state. Yes. Okay. Sige. Let's check muna number one, ha. So, number one. Okay, tama ito. A-attack muna yung ethox side mo dun sa hydrogen. I-donate niya dun sa beta hydrogen. Donate doon to form double bond. Tapos siya aalis si bromine. And then, ito na yung mabubuo mong product. You also have alcohol as one of your byproducts, tsaka bromide. Okay. Ang transition state mo dapat dito ay, okay, ito. Tama ba to? Yes, dapat mapuputol si hydrogen. Tapos pupunta dito kay ethanol or ethoxide. Tapos magkaka-double bond dito. Aha. Then propene. Okay. Correct. Tama yung 1 mo. Pati yung ano, yung transition state. How about sa 2? Tignan mo, primary naman yan. Diba? Primary alkyl halide yan. Bakit hindi siya nag-undergo ng SN2? Pero nag-undergo siya ng E2. Ano? Tama. Tama yung drawing mo eh. May primary alkyl halide yan. O ayan o. Dinrawing mo na o. Diba primary yan? Oo. Bakit E? Yun yung tanong. Bakit E2 lang? E2 elimination lang. Bakit hindi siya nag-SN2? Right? Sige, i-draw mo yung product kapag nag-undergo ng E2 elimination. Uy, hindi pwede dyan ang hydrogen mo. Kasi nasa same lang sila eh. Oo. Mhm. Mm. Ay, sorry, inert. Sorry, inert to an E2 elimination. Hmm. Joshua, why is CH3C, CH33, CCH2BR inert to an E2 elimination? Yon. So, mali ang interpretation ko nung nabaliktad. Hindi siya nag-undergo ng E2. Instead, SN2 yan. SN2 eliminate, SN2 or substitution yan, Josh. So, your, that's 1, 2, 3. 2-bromo, 2,2-dimethyl propane is inert to E2 elimination and will just undergo SN2. Why? What is the reason? Why is your alkyl halide inert to E2? Okay. Wala siyang, correct. Okay. Wala kang beta hydrogen. Yun yung ano, yun yung explanation dito. No beta hydrogen available for beta elimination. So, therefore, substitution lang ang possible na mangyari kay alkyl halide. Kay 1-bromo, 2,2-dimethyl propane. Okay? So, ang sagot dito sa 2 ha, no beta hydrogen. Yan. No beta hydrogen. Okay. So, no beta hydrogen up for elimination. Okay, we still have quite some time. May 7 minutes pa naman, Josh. Josh, ang sunod nating meeting ay sa Wednesday. We'll have MWF. Okay? Sige, sige. Punta lang tayo. Wednesday. Pero hindi, may time pa tayo eh. I-maximize ko lang. Ayan. We're good with this one. Ayan. Nakikita mo na, Josh, yung ano ko? Slides. Okay. So ngayon, ano yung mga bases na gusto natin for E2. E2 mechanism. So, E2 reactions are generally run with strong negatively charged bases like hydroxide and alkoxide. So, yung mga hydroxides natin, pwede ito for E2 mechanism tsaka alkoxides kasi generally, strong base yan sila. So, the base appears in the rate equation. So, the rate of the E2 reaction increases as the strength of the base increases. The stronger the base na gagamitin mo sa E2 mechanism, the faster the reaction will be. Kasi nandun naman yan sa nasa rate equation siya. Kaya nga biomolecular ito E2. Ito ngayon, Josh, yung sinasabi ko. Di ba naalala mo yung third butoxide? Strong base din yan, di ba? Strong base, tapos pang-elimination siya. May iba pang ganon. Strong base sila and sterically hindered. Kaya ang nangyayari, strong base lang sila, pero hindi sila strong nucleophile. They cannot undergo substitution reaction. And they will form solely elimination products lang. Yun yung maganda dito kasi alam mo kasi na sterically hindered yung yung limitation, spherical hindrance, yung limitation ng SN2. So yun yung gagamitin natin para ma-maximize yung E2. So example dito, we have two strong sterically hindered nitrogen bases called DBN and DBU. Yan yung meaning ni DBN. 1,5-diazobicyclo 430 non-5-in. Okay? And DBU 1,8-diazobicyclo 540 and 7-in. Okay? So these are sometimes used for E2 mechanism. Etong DBN, pag nakita mo to Diyos siya, usual to Diyos siya, yung mga DBN, DBU, makikita mo dyan sila. Mga sterically hindered bases yan. Automatic Diyos, elimination sila. Pang-eliminate. Okay? Mag-substitution. SN2. Kasi nga, sterically hindered, ang laki niyan eh. Ay, ito. Azide. N double, N carbon, C double bond N. Yeah. Yeah. Bases lang sila. I'm seeing here that this nitrogen, ito, yung nitrogen dito, pwedeng ito ang tagakuha ng hydrogen. Taga-eliminate. Yeah, pwede. Kung nasaan yung double bond. Wait lang ha. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. Pwede pala din yung mag-resonance din. Pwedeng ganito siya, Josh. Asan na to? Look at this, ha. Yan. Ito, ilalagay mo dito, right? Tsaka ito, ngayon, ito yung a-attack kay hydrogen. Yan. So, similarly, ganun din dito. Ayan. Tapos siya a-attack, mag-a-akas base sa hydrogen mo. Yeah, that's nice. DBN and DBU are actually strong, very strong bases, pero poor nucleophiles. They will not, they will not undergo substitution reactions. Pang-elimination yan sila. Basta tanda mo yan DBN and DBU. Kasi yan, lilitaw at lilitaw sila sa mga other reactions sa atin, Josh. So, example, we have E2 reaction here. We'll close with this slide. E2 reaction with DBN. So, if you will notice here, DBN was used to eliminate this hydrogen. Ayan, tas tanggal na tong bromine to form a new pi bond here. Pag nakalagay ito sa dilute acid, if you will notice, yan, itong group na to, no, yan, magiging ketone siya. Magiging ketone na. Okay? So, enone to eh. So, Prostaglandin ito. Saan? Ito acetal to if I'm not mistaken. Diacetal. Yup. Tapos naging ketone. Tama, di ba? Ketone ito. Pero if you will notice here, this ketone is special kasi meron kang double bond dito. So adjacent yan sila. Ano to? Enone ang tawag dito. Mga enone. Alkene tsaka ketone. Tapos acetal to if I'm not mistaken. Or ketal. Ketal. Diketal to. Sorry. Ketal tong mga to. Diketal. So ano yan? Madidiscuss natin ulit yan sa acetone and aldehyde. Ketones and aldehydes. Ayun lang, Josh. Baka mag-end yung Josh yung meeting natin. I'll see you on Wednesday, ha? Okay, so eto, basta tanda mo lang, DB and DBU, pang-elimination siya. Okay? Same mechanism pa rin for E2. So, abstract si hydrogen. Yeah, abstract si hydrogen, double bond, eliminate bromine. Correct, yes. So, next meeting, dito na tayo. Wala, ano to? If I'm not mistaken, synthetic pathway to. Synthetic to. To form this prostaglandin. Yes. Hindi ito biosynthetic pathway. Synthetic pathway lang ito, Josh. Yeah. Ano to ha? Tsaka yung mga DBN hindi yan nasa katawan. Ang